Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze how Virgil van Dijk played a key role in Liverpool bypassing Mikel Arteta's defensive tactics in the Reds' pivotal 1-0 win over Arsenal at Anfield. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, we have a Liverpool side that was unchanged following their win against Newcastle, and Arsenal making a few changes due to injury, with Martinelli shifting over to the left, Merino in that midfield zone with Zubimendi and Rice, and Madueke shifting over to the right. Now there was an injury scare early for Arsenal, which witnessed Mosquera replaced Saliba at the back. But when we focus on Arsenal, what we're going to look at here is how they look to approach this game out of possession, because they did a very good job in that opening half in limiting Liverpool's ability to create chances from open play. How did they do that? Well, Arsenal were a 4-4-2 out of possession, with Merino and Gyökeres leading the line, and Zubimendi and Rice sitting a bit deeper. Liverpool often had Gravenberch dropping in between the center backs and allowing the fullbacks to push forward to peg back Martinelli and Madueke, and here you would see Gyökeres and Merino sit in between Gravenberch and then look to close down the center back that would get on the ball. Liverpool would have a 3v2 advantage in those scenarios, but across the pitch, Arsenal did a very good job of limiting and nullifying the space that Liverpool could operate in. In the midfield zone, you had Zubimendi and Rice tracking the movement of McAllister and Wirtz. Out in the wider areas, Timber and Calafiori did a very good job against Gakpo and Salah. And then throughout that game, you witnessed Mosquera do a very good job in nullifying and shutting down the Liverpool center forward. Ideally speaking, you would have Gyökeres looking to press either Konate or Van Dijk, and then Merino sitting on the deepest lying midfielder. But there were times where you ended up seeing Merino dropping deeper, dealing with McAllister, Rice tracking Wirtz, and then Zubimendi sitting in the center of the pitch to ensure that Liverpool players in the front three couldn't shift into spaces between the line. If there was ever a case where you witnessed Rice or Zubimendi stepping towards Gravenberch because Merino was caught out of position closing down a Liverpool center back, that's where you would see Gabriel and Mosquera take advantage of their 2v1 against Ekitike, and they would step forward to Wirtz or McAllister, whoever was the highest free Liverpool midfielder, to ensure that Arsenal were covering their spaces. We witnessed a lot of scenarios where you witnessed Merino stepping towards Van Dijk and blocking off the passing lane in towards Gravenberch, and that would see Zubimendi and Rice dealing with McAllister and Wirtz. If not, Gyökeres and Merino were dropped off deeper and they were okay with the 3v2, and in those situations you see Rice and Zubimendi tracking the movement of the two midfielders that were looking to push forward and receive the ball in space. And it'd be Gyökeres stepping towards Konate with Merino shifting over, and Merino stepping towards Van Dijk with Gyökeres sitting on Gravenberch. You'd see Rice tracking the movement of Wirtz, and then you'd see Zubimendi stepping towards McAllister. And on the rare occasion that didn't happen, you'd have Rice near Gravenberch with Merino stepping towards McAllister. Or there was a situation where you saw McAllister dropping a bit deeper, and that's where Merino stepped towards him, Rice pushed towards Gravenberch, and Zubimendi was tracking the movement of Wirtz. So in many ways, this was a straightforward, simplistic defensive approach from Arsenal that was executed nearly flawlessly in that opening 45-minute period. But it was in the second half where we witnessed Van Dijk getting a bit more time on the ball, and Arsenal's midfield simply just lacking the communication, execution, and work rate to ensure that Liverpool wouldn't get into good positions in that second half. Nevertheless, Van Dijk's passing from those deeper areas was a concern, and it was getting Liverpool into good positions. And the other issue for Arsenal was that Van Dijk was operating as a reliable option to bypass the Arsenal attack and play in midfield players that were now getting away from Zubimendi, Rice, and Merino. If we look to a few examples, the first warning sign was minutes in towards the second half. Van Dijk's on the ball, and you could see Merino stepping towards him slowly, and you could see Wirtz shifting to the right of Rice with Zubimendi tracking McAllister. Merino doesn't block off the passing lane in towards Wirtz. You can see that Gravenberch's ahead of the front two, and Van Dijk simply plays the ball around Merino to Wirtz, and Rice doesn't shift over. By the time Wirtz receives the ball, you could see McAllister running off of Zubimendi. No one gets tight on Wirtz, and he simply splits the two Arsenal midfielders to find McAllister running at the back four. And luckily for Arsenal here, McAllister simply can't control the pass, and you end up seeing Mosquera clearing the line. lines. If you look to another example, it's Van Dijk on the ball and Merino looking to step towards him while blocking off the passing lane in towards McAllister. And that's where you see Zubimendi and Rice dealing with Wirtz and Gravenberch. And look how deep the Arsenal center backs are with the Liverpool center forward. You end up seeing Van Dijk playing the ball around Merino easily. Wirtz is looking to step in because Zubimendi's not tight on him. And you could see Rice stuck with Gravenberch and no one stepping towards McAllister. This leaves a simple outlet pass for Wirtz to drop the ball off to McAllister. And by the time he's looking to do that, that's where you see Rice now looking to push forward. At this moment, the Arsenal center backs are still with the Liverpool center forward, and that's going to leave Gravenberch free if Rice doesn't get to McAllister on time. He doesn't, and McAllister identifies that space, and he instantly looks to play the ball around Rice for the free Gravenberch to now run at the center backs who are still occupied by the Liverpool center forward. And if one of them aren't stepping forward, then Martinelli has to shift across to help out Rice there. Neither of the center backs or Martinelli does that. Gravenberch receives the ball and now he's able to run at the Arsenal backline, but he opts to shoot early, and luckily for Arsenal, he fires a shot wide. Shortly after that, Van Dijk simply splits Gyökeres and Zubimendi as neither Zubimendi or Merino step towards him to apply pressure. He finds Gravenberch free in the halfway circle, who's allowed to turn, and he locates the run of the center forward across the center back, and he ends up splitting Martinelli and Rice to play in that pass towards the Arsenal penalty area, but it's slightly overhit and allows the goalkeeper to collect the ball in clear danger. To no surprise, the build-up to the free kick that led to Liverpool's winner followed a similar template. Van Dijk free on the ball in the halfway circle, no pressure applied towards him. This time Eze is closing down Gravenberch, and you could see Wirtz shifting to the right of Zubimendi, but neither Zubimendi or Rice communicate in terms of who's going to close down Jones, and you could see that the center backs don't step towards him either. That allows Van Dijk to split both Zubimendi and Rice to allow Jones to receive the ball between the lines. The center backs don't step. Rice and Zubimendi react late, and ultimately that mistake resulted in Liverpool being placed in a position to secure the winner. So as you can see, while there were specific elements to this game where Arsenal thrived, specifically out of possession, it was clear that a lack of defensive discipline, communication, and execution proved decisive in a match where at the very least Mikel Arteta's men arguably deserved a point.